I'm Dee Brockwell. Welcome to this edition of Burlington Now. The Paramount Theater of downtown Burlington is a great showplace of entertainment and activities for not only locals, but also our outlying neighbors. We're going to talk with the managing director of the Paramount Theater, Dave Wright. We'll find out more about what's going on with the theater today, what went on with the theater yesterday. We'll find out a little bit about the history and about some exciting plans for the upcoming part of Paramount Theater. Then we'll hop down the street to visit with Officer Shantae Harris Stewart and find out what's going on with National Night Out. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started. Today we're talking with the managing director of the Paramount Theater, Dave Wright. Dave has been our managing director for quite a few years, and I'll let him explain more about his history with the Paramount. Plus, we'll ask him a little bit about the history of the Paramount Theater. So right now, welcome Dave Wright.
Thank you, Dee. Appreciate it.
How long have you been our managing director?
20 and a half years.
Wow.
Which is pretty remarkable. Most of my family can't get over the fact that I've held this job this long, but I tell them it beats working. So I have decided to stay, and it's the best job I've ever had.
Well, you certainly are fit for this job, and we couldn't ask for a better person to be in your position and to be lucky enough to have you for this long, because you have your own career going as well as a writer and a director.
Well, that's one of the nice things about this job, is that the city has been very supportive. They've allowed me to continue to write and direct for other folks, but this is always the first priority. And it has to be, because the Paramount is essentially almost a 365-day-a-year job, in that stuff that goes on the stage is backed up by stuff that goes on backstage and in the offices and stuff like that. So it's kind of time consuming, but like I say, it beats working.
Every day planting the seeds for all the future events that are coming down the line
for
us. Exactly. Well, and in that probably makes you the best managing director we could ever ask for. So that those things are helpful, because I do know a little bit about theater. So I mean,
she does, ladies and gentlemen, she does.
It's good to have you here. Tell us a little bit about the background of the Paramount. She's the grand lady of the downtown, and a big draw, not just for local folks, but for all over North Carolina, actually.
The Paramount was one of Judge Quall's projects back in the early part of the 20th century. He at one time owned all the downtown theaters, but the Paramount was his special favorite. It was the family theater, and it was originally known as the Grand Theater. It opened in December of 1928, and it opened as the Grand Theater. 9 months later, he changed the name to the Paramount after he signed a deal with Paramount Pictures to show mostly Paramount movies. The first one of which was The Coconuts, starring the Marx Brothers, which I find just a wonderful coincidence, given the fact that I'm a dedicated Groucho Marxist. But it thrived as a first-run movie house through the 30s, 40s, 50s. I grew up coming to the kiddie shows and coming to movies here with my family and my cousins and all. Theater fell on some tough times as things began to change in downtown Burlington in the late 60s, early 70s. It went through a somewhat tawdry period there for a while and then closed. Our friends with the Gallery Players saved the Paramount Theater in the 70s. They took it over from the city, and for about 18 or 19 years did wonderful, wonderful shows in pretty Spartan conditions. But by 1994, things had just fallen so far out of code that the city had to take it over. It shut the place down. Debate raged back and forth for a couple of years what to do with the Paramount. But when the fundamental decision was made that the Paramount, obviously a theater, should not be just a theater, that it should be for everybody, that's when the tide turned and people said, yeah, let's spend the taxpayers' dollars necessary to bring the Paramount Theater back to life. So that's why, even though much of our programming is theater and plays, musicals and stuff like that, we have concerts, we have spelling bees, we have revivals, we have the bodybuilders who come in and pump you up. Yeah, we have just all manner of different kinds of events for all different age groups. And I think this is what has been so successful. And when the Recreation Commission and the City Council made that the focus of what the Paramount should be, the success was pretty much assured. I mean, we hit rough spots every now and then, but when you've been going for 20 years, you're going to do that.
Absolutely, a long history there. Speaking of history and the dates that you were mentioning of, this is, from what I understand, an anniversaries year in the plural.
It certainly is. We have 2 anniversaries we're celebrating this year. First is the 20th anniversary of the rebirth, revitalization, and restoration of the Paramount. That occurred, we opened in 1998, in February of that year. So we have that to celebrate, 20 years of the rebirth of the Paramount. But we've also got the 90th anniversary of the opening of the building, which I mentioned earlier. It took place December the 19th, 1928. The very first movie shown under the name The Grand Theater was a 3-reeler starring Clara Bow, the It Girl, and we actually have found some snippets of that movie, which we're going to show during a special event, a one-night gala, December the 19th of this year. It's going to be called The Life of a Theater, the Paramount at 90. And we're going to celebrate 90 years of great entertainment. Herschel the Ghost. Yes, every theater has a ghost, and Herschel is ours. He will be the master of ceremonies. First act, the great movie music of the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, the Academy Award-winning songs. Second act will be the great Broadway tunes that have been performed on this stage since the gallery took over. So you get both of the lives of the Paramount. First Run Movie House, Performing Arts Center. And during that time, we're going to show some snippets of 3 Weekends, that Clara Bow movie that I was talking about. So it's going to be quite an event, and we're hoping that folks are going to come out. I know it's right in the middle of the Christmas holidays, but a 90th anniversary only happens once every 90 years. So we're hoping folks are going to mark their calendars for that.
That sounds like such an exciting event, and something really for everyone to celebrate in the community, because it is our community theater, and it's just a wonderful place for everyone to come to and celebrate those 90 years of success and transition that it's gone through.
Our show in August will be the Savannah Sippin' Society. 4 Southern women in search of love, happiness, and the perfect mixed drink. And that'll be coming up August 9th through the 12th, and then we'll round out the year with the Life of a Theater, the Paramount at 90. That'll be in December. So lots of good stuff to look forward to, in addition to all the other things that go on.
That are going on. It's a busy place, and especially now because there's actually going to be an addition to the Paramount Theater. One of the older businesses in downtown Moorfields has moved, which stood right beside, and the building does still stand right beside the theater. So I understand there's expansion going on with the theater with that?
The plans are in the works right now. We've had meetings with Clearscapes, Steve Schuster and his wonderful folks out of Raleigh, who were the architects on the restoration of the Paramount. We have a great relationship with Steve and his folks. The city has worked very closely with him. We're in the process of determining what plan we're going to go with. They've given us about 5 or 6 different plans, but essentially it involves expanding the lobby, leveling the floor to where the lobby then becomes one big area. The concession stand in all of the plans moves to the Moorfield side to expand that lobby even more. And then the question becomes, do we want to do a combination of storage and possibly an expanded kitchen and concession area so that we could do catered things here at the Paramount, thereby expanding the offerings that we can give people as to what can be done here.
There's always room for growth as far as the entertainment value goes with this area and in the downtown area as well.
You could go online. At last, we have online ticketing through eTix or our 1-800 number, and you can still buy tickets at the box office. And we've been very, very pleased with the way that has gone. So good things continue to happen.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Dave, very much for speaking with us today. And good luck with everything in the future. We look forward to seeing what's coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Officer Harris Stewart, and today on Inside the BPD, we're going to talk about National Night Out. It's fun, it's exciting, and it happens once a year, and we're going to tell you everything that you need to know about National Night Out. So I'm standing here with Sergeant Meadows. Sergeant Meadows, can you let me know when National Night Out is and what it is exactly?
National Night Out is on August 7th this year. It's a time whenever communities and police officers can come together and and kind of form a partnership with each other. And you can have, people can see police officers in more of a positive light instead of a negative interaction. We started in the early 80s when a bunch of neighborhoods were having block parties, and they started inviting police officers over to their block parties, and they were really involved with their police departments and the safety of their neighborhoods. And since then, it's grown to over 38 million neighbors, taking in about 16,000 communities.
How many communities or neighborhoods are involved?
Right now, there's about 46, and that's up over the last 10 years. It's grown from about 12 communities to 46.
What time is National Night Out normally held, and how do you pick the locations that you go to?
Well, it generally runs from about 6 p.m. until about 9 p.m., give or take. The neighborhoods that have them are generally the neighborhoods that are involved in our Community Watch program. It's not just East Burlington, it's not just West Burlington, it's the entire city coming together as one community.
What are the positive results you've seen from National Night Out?
It's a good time for people to have positive interaction with police officers instead of, you're getting pulled over and getting a ticket, or, they're involved in some kind of situation that involves a negative interaction with police officers. This way they can see police officers in a positive light, and we can start forming these relationships in the city. The results from that is whenever you build these relationships, they might reach out to you whenever they have a problem. They're more comfortable coming to you as a police officer, and the results I've seen, people will reach out to us and say, they got this problem going on in their neighborhood, or they got questions about what's going on in the city. Because it's not just police officers that come out of these things. You got city councilmen, you got Parks and Rec, everybody that works with the city rides around and goes to these communities, and that way the people actually get to see kind of the inner workings of the city, if they're willing to have that conversation.
Right. What do you personally take away from your involvement in National Night Out?
I think it's fun. It's laid back. You get to hang out and have a couple of hot dogs. Some people have some shrimp, which is always awesome. But it's a good time to just kick back, relax, maybe listen to some good music, and just have a nice, laid back conversation with the folks that live here.
So now I hope that you feel informed about National Night Out, and I hope to see you there August 7th from 6 to 9. I want to see your community, and your community, and I can't wait to see you. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Burlington Now. Until next time, keep up to date with everything going on in the city online at burlingtonnc.gov or Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at BurlingtonNC.
There you go.